This is a review for the Garmin HRM-RUN heart rate monitor strap. This particular strap came bundled with my Garmin Fenix 3HR device, but I wanted to give a separate review on it rather than talking about it in my Fenix 3HR review that's also available on my channel, because I actually feel that this is of real value to so many runners out there who have probably got a Garmin device already. And this strap does support many devices. You can actually have a look in the video description. I'll try and list out all the devices that it's available on. But actually you don't need a Fenix 3 for it to work, but it provides so much extra information about your running that I thought it was really worthwhile just doing a separate review on it. So it's much like a traditional strap. You've got the strap and the unit there, and you simply make the points wet here, the sensors wet, and then put it onto your wrist and strap it on as you would normally. I actually found it a bit more comfortable than the old traditional Garmin straps. I don't know if they've used a different material or something, but it certainly felt a little bit more comfortable. Don't know why. Now, it works in pretty much the same way as any heart rate monitor. You pair it up with the device. If you bought it as a bundle, it comes already pre-paired. Don't fall into the mistake I did, was trying to pair it and it wouldn't. And I suddenly realised it was already pre-paired. But once it's paired to the device, you start your activity and away you go. And the Garmin then collects all of that data, and really the magic happens when you've come to the end of your run. So obviously you've come to the end of your run and you upload it onto Garmin Connect, and then you can actually go through all the different aspects of data that you've got at your disposal. So I'm going to just cut to the view now and show you all of the different types of data that are available through this strap. Here we have Garmin Connect, and what I'm going to do is take you through some of the data that is being provided by the HRM-RUN wrist strap, and hopefully you'll find it quite useful to see what kind of extra data you can get over the normal heart rate monitors. Now I'm going to get a run up, but not that one because that was only a warm down, and try and show you. Here we go. Been stood running. Here we go. So I'm going to show you what the data we can find. So this was a 5k run, and if we have a look down the data, we can see that we've got elevation, which is as you'd expect from data gathered from the watch, my pace, and my heart rate. This time obviously generated by the strap, but it could have been obviously from my wrist strap if I was using the watch. Then we've got a whole bunch of new data that comes through as a result of the heart rate monitor that is on my strap. For a start, we've got stride length, and here we can see my average stride length anywhere between 1 meter and about 1¼ meters. Sometimes it's slightly higher, I think, when I'm going downhill. What's quite interesting is you can expand these out, and then you can actually add overlays as well. So you've got things like elevation profile. So I can see that as the elevation went down, my stride length went up, which is what you'd probably expect. But actually there's the next three variables that I want to go into more detail on, which I think is really interesting. So run cadence. So what's Garmin Connect does is it actually gives you the different percentiles and the cadence ranges, and also some information about this. So what they're basically saying here is that Garmin researchers said that you want to aim for a running cadence of 180 steps per minute as an optimum. So that would put you basically in the blue to purple category of cadence range. So if we go back to my run cadence, look, there's lots of blues and a few purples. So actually I'm performing quite well in regard to that. There's a slight drop off there, but generally speaking my cadence is looking pretty okay. So actually I'm quite happy about that. It'd be interesting to see if I can get a bit more purple, so maybe if I concentrated on my cadence a bit. Then you've got the vertical ratio. Garmin basically explains this as the cost to benefit ratio, where the cost is the vertical oscillation and the benefit is the distance travelled. So basically Garmin's research has shown that many runners, experienced fast runners, tend to have a lower vertical ratio, and is independent of height. So what we need to be aiming for is blues and purples again in this. So if we have a look back again at my run, there's a fair amount of blue, but then there's probably a little bit too much green there for my liking. And again, what I can do is I can map this against elevation or my heart rate or something to try and figure out why it is that maybe I've been deviating off the target rate, which is that lower rate there. So again, that's something that I can look into. For me, the most interesting one was this ground contact time balance, and the way Garmin explains this is basically you want to have a 50-50 gait as much as possible in terms of your balance, and anything that deviates that could be caused by running up or down hills, for example, but also injuries that are reflected in this balance as well. Now, interestingly, I was actually running with a calf injury in my right leg during the course of this run. So if we actually expand that out, you can see that I'm definitely running more to the right. I'm spending longer in terms of ground contact on the right hand side than I am on the left, and I think that's very reflective of the fact that I was carrying that injury during the course of this run. So it'll be really interesting to see if that levels out now that my calf injury, touch wood, has cleared up. But this is kind of interesting, and again, if that doesn't clear up, then maybe there's some work I can do on my running, the way I run, to see if I can actually balance that out. So there's a huge amount of extra information available as a result of having this heart rate monitor on my chest during the course of this run, and for that reason, I'm definitely going to be using it every time I go running to make sure that I've got the right I've got the right data output to allow me to assess the run and how well it's going. Just as an interesting point, as a side, I don't particularly use Connect very much because I tend to use Strava, but this is one of the few bits of data I think that Garmin are holding back from Strava when they're passing information through about your runs, and that in itself is an interesting development because it does suggest that Garmin are going to try and start getting people to use Garmin Connect more, so it'll be interesting if they hold out on that or whether this data will start getting fed through to Strava. Certainly Strava seems to be the service of choice amongst my network, and I really don't have that many connections on Garmin Connect. But still, it's interesting, and I'm definitely going to spend more time on Garmin Connect as a result of this.